welcome everyone. We're very excited to be joined by our FSHD community tonight for our webinar on Cure FSHD. I think most of the people online already have already had some exposure to this new app that we've built, but we'll just go through the app itself. We'll be recording the session and we'll share this with the broader community because a lot of people are probably working or busy during the week and might not have been able to join us. So thank you for joining us, and just with some housekeeping, I'll please ask everyone on the call to mute your microphone when you're not speaking. We will have a question and answer session at the end. We will also monitor the chat. And so please feel free to ask any questions or use the react button to raise your hand if you have a pressing question that you'd like answered at the time. We can be quite flexible about this. So I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that we're meeting tonight. We're all throughout Australia, so we're honouring their connections to land, sea and community. I'm speaking to you from the land of the Turrbal people. We pay our respect to their elders, past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people today. Okay, so I'm not sure if many people here have heard of Project Mercury, but I thought it might be a good way to set the scene. About 5 years ago, FSHD Global Research Foundation started to understand that the science was developing really well and that it was quite possible that treatments would be in the pipeline and expected, within a 10-year time frame from 5 years ago. So we started shifting our focus from purely medical research and started looking into what would be the barriers to a therapy coming to market and what would be the barriers for people to access that therapy. Now, that's not a challenge that is faced by Australia alone. It's faced by every country across the world. And we're very fortunate to have a strong collaboration with other FSHD advocacy organisations. We have 10 different countries that are members of a project called Project Mercury. And this is an ongoing project that will complete in 2027. And the purpose of this project is to fast track therapies, but also making sure that once therapies come to market, that they are accessible and affordable for patients. So we've seen in other diseases where there are therapies that are available, but then do not get, reimbursed by governments or health insurers. And so it's not just about finding a therapy that works, it's making sure that a therapy can be accessed. So we've joined Project Mercury and we're leading the Australian working group for this project. We're developing infrastructure to support clinical trial readiness and also therapeutic development right across the Asia Pacific region. But as well as our infrastructure, we're really focused on people, and we want to make sure that our FSHD community are ready to prepare for clinical trials. And not only ready for trials, but also ready for treatments. So Cure FSHD, which is our patient-led disease registry platform, is our solution to quite a few of the challenges that we're addressing through Project Mercury. And we'll go through that tonight. But I just wanted to make sure that the group was aware that this is a piece of a really significant and large puzzle to help people with FSHD right across the world. And you don't have to be in Australia to be a member of Cure FSHD. This is a tool that is offered to people globally, no matter where they're from. And we'll detail as we go through, which aspects of the app are available to just Australians. Some are available to Australians and New Zealanders, and some are available right across the world. So why did we create Cure FSHD? As we just mentioned, we are looking to help people become trial ready, and we're looking to help Australia attract more clinical trials to be ran here in Australia. So our goal was to empower our community and provide them with the tools and resources that they need to understand and manage FSHD, but also power some really groundbreaking research. We know that disease registries are a really important piece of the puzzle when it comes to clinical trial readiness and when it comes for therapeutic development. As pharmaceutical companies get ready to bring their products to the market, they need to test to see whether they are effective and whether they are safe. And that is what a clinical trial is. To be able to attract patients to participate in those clinical trials, we need to be able to support pharmaceutical companies to tell them where our patients are, what medical institutions they're connected to, but also further than that, we need to really understand how the disease presents right across the country. We need to understand whether our patients are ambulatory or non-ambulatory, so whether you're still walking independently. And we need to have better data to inform the design of clinical trials to make sure that as these companies are bringing drugs into the clinic, we have the tools that will work well to measure the effectiveness of the drug. And as you can all probably appreciate, facioscapulohumeral dystrophy is such a unique and variable condition. It's very hard to design a trial that really accurately measures function across such a wide variety of patients. So the groundbreaking research that being in this registry contributes to is not just medical research as we think about research in the lab, it's also research to design better clinical trials. It's research to understand how the disease presents in this country. And it's research to better understand how the disease is passed down through families. I know there are people on this call that see such a variability even within their own family. So we're all very well aware of how differently it can present when passed down through generations. So just by being part of the registry, no matter whether you decide ultimately to be part of a clinical trial, you are contributing to research and you are contributing to bringing therapies to our patients. So everyone has a part to play, and thank you all for already being part of that. Really importantly, Cure FSHD is part of the Treat NMD registry framework. So Treat NMD is a global neuromuscular organisation that operate industry-supported registries. And to be part of their network is a really powerful position for our patient-led registry, because it means it connects us into that whole global patient cohort. So any inquiries that go through this linked network, so a pharmaceutical company might ask Treat NMD to provide some reporting on people with FSHD type 1 with a certain severity level, and Australian data will automatically be part of the reporting that's provided back to them. If I can just ask again that everyone mutes their microphone if they're not speaking, that would be really helpful because it's a little bit difficult with the background noise. So that was really exciting for us. It was quite a process to be registered with Treat NMD, and it shows the value and the of this registry that we've created. Next one, Lisa. So now we'll just do a little introduction. I'll pass over to Lisa. Lisa, for those who don't know her, I think everyone on this call probably knows Lisa. Lisa is our operations manager at FSHD Global. We are very fortunate to have her on board, and I'll let her share with you a little bit of information about clinical trial readiness.
Yeah, as Emma mentioned, we are talking about different things, being clinical trial ready, having a clinical trial passport. So we just wanted to take the moment tonight to talk about the difference. So as you can see, and some of you I can see have even signed up to our Cure FSHD already. So they have gone through the steps. Being clinical trial ready is important, to be ready, also ready for treatments. So we are just trying to take everyone, to understand that you have to be diagnosed, you have everything confirmed by your doctor, and have your relevant testing completed. Sorry, Emma, I'll be hyperventilating. So you navigate through the process, and then I'm going one back. Sorry, guys.
While Lisa gets the slide sorted,
IT stuff. Sorry.
I'll just mention that when Lisa says that readiness for treatments, you would need to be genetically diagnosed to be eligible to receive a treatment. So that's why that's all part of the treatment readiness as well as trial readiness. Sorry, Lisa, I'll let you keep going.
Thank you. Happy for you to take over. So it's really important that you are confirmed by your doctor, that you have all your relevant testing completed. As we were talking to Georgia earlier, some of us, have all the documents ready, but it's really important to have it all documented and have it all through in the clinical trial passport. Is your one-stop shop to have all your documents ready. It will help you improve your chances to enroll in clinical trials if you choose to. But it also helps you to meet the criteria to be eligible for specific trials that are in your area. And it is really important for us that you understand it is a companion. It helps you to have all your information together and have it all ready if you do meet your specialists and your care team. We also want to point out on the bottom of the slide, we do have more information on our website. So if you haven't been on our website, we are explaining what it means to take part in clinical trials. We really want to point out that you do understand it is your own choosing to take part. So please have a look on our website as well, please. So we mentioned the clinical trial passport. As mentioned, some of you are already signed up. What you do if you sign up in Cure FSHD, you complete a questionnaire about your quality of life. So we'll ask you a few questions. How did you feel in the last week? Did you have any difficulties? Did you have any falls? It will then ask you if you already had a blood-based DNA test. We're going to explain the difference a little later on. It will also ask you if you have already completed your saliva test, which is showing you methylation. That's done by Peter and Takako Jones lab in America. If you haven't already, you can also apply for the Springbok test, which is a full body MRI scan. And then we also have the mental health screening, but we will take a closer look a little later on all of them. But once you've completed all of them, you are considered clinical trial ready. And again, if you haven't been on our website, please have a look and get a better understanding what is a clinical trial, because it's very important to get an understanding what you sign up for if you are ready and wanting to. And as Emma was saying, we're very pleased. It took a little while, and I am saying I only joined about a year ago. So Emma and the team have worked on it for a little longer, but we are ready. We have launched our Cure FSHD app, and I'm very proud to show you a very short video.
Introducing Cure FSHD, an innovative data hub specifically for adults and children living with Facioscapulohumeral Muscular Dystrophy. Co-designed and trialled by FSHD patients, the app securely stores patient data in one place. Beyond an e-health record, it's your personal health assistant. Track symptoms, monitor progress, and easily share information with your treating health professionals. The Cure FSHD app helps patients organise their health data and empowers patients to have autonomy over their journey with FSHD. It stores essential data for trial participation, including genetic information, saliva test results, and full-body Springbok MRI scans. Patients can even request the saliva test and Springbok scans directly through the app. We understand FSHD affects more than just muscles. That's why we capture your comprehensive survey responses on quality of life, well-being, and mental health. Get clinical trial ready with ease. As you input data, your passport gets stamped, making it simple to register for trials or research studies. When you join Cure FSHD, you also join the Global Patient Registry Network under Treat NMD, helping us to fast-track therapies and power research. The Cure FSHD app is the ultimate companion for managing life with FSHD.
Okay. So we are very fortunate to have a lovely partnership with Peter and Rico Jones in the USA. So we provide all of the kits and the postage, and Peter and his team do the analysis at no cost, which is, I think, truly a gift to the world. So Lisa, as Lisa mentioned, we will send the kit to your home when you complete it. So there's instructions for how to complete it. You'll mail it directly back to Peter and Takiko's lab. After the analysis, which takes sometimes less, but sometimes allow up to 3 to 4 months. We need to allow time for postage for it to get all the way over there, make its way to their lab, and then for the actual analysis. Their lab will email you directly with the results. Now, at that point, they do not end up back in the Cure FSHD ecosystem. The way that this app has been designed is that your data is yours, and it's your choice whether you share it with the foundation or not. So you could elect to go through this process, and then the passport stops there at the saliva test if you don't wish to donate your data. I hope that no one makes that choice, and that you all donate your data back to the foundation and upload it in through the clinical trial passport. When you do that, that then shows against your profile. And in the back end, our foundation will enter the relevant information from the PDF document that you get emailed from Peter, so that in your profile, you will just see your methylation results already interpreted and recorded into your passport. And once you've uploaded it back into Cure FSHD, you will gain your next stamp on your clinical trial readiness passport. Just noting that at the moment, the foundation provides saliva testing kits to Australian and New Zealand patients only, but they are still available to people in other countries. And we've included the link there for how you can request a kit if you're not in Australia or New Zealand. We are interested in expanding further within the Asian Pacific region, but for now, that is all. They're the countries that we distribute that to. Thank you, Lisa. This is what the saliva testing kit looks like. We've had a little bit of confusion with the passport already, because you're uploading a PDF, report. My hot tip for everyone is to save it with a file name, so that when you're looking to upload it into the app, you are able to easily identify and click on the right file, because we've had all kinds of things uploaded instead of a saliva testing kit. Nothing is done that can't be undone. We can remove that and request you to upload the correct document. So if you do get a request from Elisa or someone from the team asking you to try again, it might be that you've selected the wrong document, or it might be that you weren't sure exactly what you're looking for. We do have an example here of what that printout looks like from the Jones lab. So please upload that document as it's sent to you. Noting that at the moment, the saliva test is a research test. It's not considered a diagnostic, but it does give you an indication of your likely FSHD status. And it's a very important component for the clinical trial passport, because what it tells you is your gene methylation, which for some of the therapies that are in development, they are looking to rescue methylation as a way to combat the disease. So this is very important information for pharmaceutical companies. It's also very important information to help us better understand how FSHD is passed down through generations and how it might change from generation to generation. So it's a very important piece of research information as well. The next one, Lisa. Thank you. It does sound a bit confusing because the saliva test is testing your DNA, but when we're referring to a genetic test, the way that FSHD tested genetically, the gold standard genetic test is using a bionano, or there is also a southern blot test that is still used in Australia as well. This is a blood-based testing, and it actually looks at the number of deletions on the gene. So it's after a different piece of information and an equally vital piece of the puzzle for pharmaceutical companies and researchers as well. So when we talk about being genetically confirmed, it is the blood test that we're referring to that is a really important test for you to know whether you've had or not. And if you haven't had it, now is the time to start organising that, regardless of whether you yourself want to take part in therapies. At the moment, a genetic confirmation is what would likely be needed to be eligible for therapies when they are approved. So it is a really good thing to get your genetic confirmation done now. Through the app, we have a link through to genetic counselling services where you can identify a service that is close to you to get all the information that you might need. If you can't identify a genetic counselling service, please reach out to the foundation, because we do have some genetic counsellors that we can connect you to who are happy to do telehealth appointments. Alternatively, the genetic testing can be done by a neurologist, and there is a Medicare code for the genetic test. So in many cases, there's no out-of-pocket cost now. We lobbied very hard to have this Medicare code along with the Perkins Institute in WA, and that does exist now. So it can either eliminate or significantly reduce the cost. Sometimes it depends state to state and even hospital to hospital what that out-of-pocket cost might be. You've probably heard about our clinical trial passport program where we're funding the diagnostics that's needed. If you have an out-of-pocket cost for your southern blot test, so not private doctors' fees or things like that, but for the actual test, you can apply for sponsorship from the foundation to cover that cost. So that is for any out-of-pocket gap payment for a southern blot or bionano blood-based genetic test for FSHD, we can help you cover that gap payment. The reason I say it's important to get that done now is that this test is not as fast as the saliva test. In some cases, the test can be batched until they have a number of FSHD patients testing to run together. So it can take 6 months or longer. I have heard of several people that waited more than 12 months for their blood-based genetic tests. So it does take a little while. So it's important to get that happening. We've had several people upload their saliva test as their genetic test. So this is an important call out. Your southern blot test or the report that comes from your bionano test looks something like this. It will talk about the laboratory and it will talk about the number of repeat units. If you're not sure whether you have, whether the paperwork you have is a genetic test, you can always send it through to us and ask, or check with your GP or neurologist if they have it on file. The next aspect of our clinical trial passport is our Springbok analysis. So this is provided at the moment only to Australian patients. This is a full body MRI scan that is then analysed with Springbok Analytics technology to give you a muscle by muscle analysis of the disease progression throughout your body. So on the screen there, we can see right through from mildly affected to very severely affected patients. The effects that we're seeing with that color-coded map, and the colors have changed slightly now because Springbok have updated their metrics, is you're seeing how much fat infiltration is in the muscles. When we speak about fat infiltration, it's not, fat from being overweight. This is as the muscles deteriorate, the muscle fibers are replaced with a fatty tissue and fibrosis. So it's telling us how those muscles have been broken down. We can also see muscle asymmetry. Now, the asymmetry is not really an important aspect for clinical trials, but what it can be really important for is to talk to your allied health providers on falls prevention and functional work, because it can very clearly show where you have imbalances in your body. It compares the same muscle from one side of your body to the other and shows you if you have over or undeveloped muscles on one side or the other, leading to an imbalance in your body. It's a very important thing when we look at walking stability. If you have an Apple Watch, walking stability that's measured in your Apple Watch is often driven by asymmetry in your body. So you might see a correlation there, probably something that would be interesting to have a look at. This Springbok analysis, you'll notice as you go through Cure FSHD that you need to have completed all of the other tests to be eligible to request a Springbok scan. Now, this is because we consider the Springbok analysis the final piece of the puzzle. These are expensive. They cost the foundation about $3,000, which is a very worthwhile investment, but that is half the cost of our clinical trial passports in their entirety. So it's really important for us to make sure that we are providing those to people who are genetically confirmed, who have done their questionnaires, and who are otherwise clinical trial ready. So this is the final piece of the puzzle. There will be some of you who have already had your Springbok questionnaire, Springbok scan done through our pilot program. So you can either upload them in, or you can let us know and we can get those linked in through the back end of the system. I really encourage you to keep this at your fingertips and use with your physiotherapist, occupational therapist, and even take them to your neurologist and help them be educated on what's happening on the inside of your body, because this is the first opportunity we have to make the invisible visible and really show what's happening in our bodies. This is an example of what the static report looks like. You will also have access to an online portal for your Springbok scan. And in that portal, you can be very interactive and go on and select individual muscles, compare muscles, filter your body to only look at certain percentages of infiltration. It's very informative and very helpful, but the static report is always at your fingertips in the app so that you've got it there and you can share it with, your healthcare providers, use it for NDIS reporting and things like that. And I just wanted to share, we love stories like this. So many of you will know Jan, who is a beloved member of our FSHD community. And Jan is always very proactive. She was one of our first people in Australia to have a Springbok scan. And she shared with us that she actually took her scan to her exercise physiologist, who printed out all of the key data on the back of a laminated sheet and used it to guide her personalised therapy program. And I love seeing this. So I do really encourage anyone who has had their clinical trial passport and had their Springbok scan to let us know how you're using it and how it's benefited you. Not only is it really good for us as a foundation to see the validation behind what we're helping our community to do, but we take those stories back to our funders and back to our donors, and we can show them firsthand how the passports that they've funded have helped people in the community live a better quality of life now. So I really encourage anyone who's willing to share their story. It really helps us. And we do love to hear from you. So even things like job access, NDIS, school support, but also your allied health therapy programs. Thank you, Lisa. The mental health questionnaires that we offer through Cure FSHD, this is the first known mental health study for people living with FSHD. And I think it's a really important area of growth to support our community. We know that FSHD affects more than muscles. we know that it also affects our quality of life, our mood, and absolutely our mental health. We provide a screening questionnaire, and there's been a little bit of confusion about this at times since we've launched the app. When you complete that questionnaire, your responses are automatically scored. It's a standardized questionnaire that's used by GPs and psychologists, and there are ratings behind each question. But it's really important we consider the responses overall. So once the report's completed, the scoring in the back end gives us a range of scores that fit within the normal and healthy range, but also it can show if you're at elevated risk for needing mental health support, or if you're at very elevated risk. If you receive a message after you've completed that questionnaire to show that you might benefit from some mental health support, you will also receive a range of phone numbers that you can call to speak to someone. But we do recommend that you see your GP and let them know that you've done this report and done this questionnaire, and it indicated that you might benefit from some support, because they are the ones that are best placed to guide you through that. But I can share personally that I myself did not realize that I could benefit from mental health support, because living with FSHD, sometimes it just feels like feelings of anxiety or depression are normal for us because it's our everyday life, but it doesn't mean that we can't seek help and have strategies in place to help us deal with those feelings. So I really encourage everyone to make the most of that mental health questionnaire. Collecting this data, I talked about you powering research. This will power the first ever mental health study in FSHD, as I mentioned. It will also give us really valuable, compelling information to show regulators and funders, when therapies are coming to market, what the benefits of having a treatment for FSHD truly are beyond physical functional benefits. So if we were looking at a therapy that might slow or stop progression, that in itself would have a huge mental health benefit. Obviously, we all want to build our muscles back, and that is our long-term goal, and we won't stop until we get there. But we need to be able to show that any therapies would be of benefit and would address some kind of unmet need. And if the unmet need includes mental health, well, that's an important factor for us to lobby for approvals for those medications. So now to the fun part. I actually think everyone on this call here is already has downloaded the app, but if you haven't, and for anyone watching this webinar later, please either download the app on your mobile device or use the web link. There is a program code that we are working with app developers. We're hoping we won't need that code shortly, but there is a program code at the moment. So if it's not pre-filled, there's a number 4M79TA to fill in, and then you'll be able to go on. You should only have to do that once. And once you've created your account with either your email address or your mobile number, you'll be able to go through all the steps. I do note it is probably a good idea to take note of whether you have used your email address or mobile number to create your profile, because we do have a few people who have created profiles under both the email address and mobile number. And, that could be quite confusing for you if you try to log on and you're logging on to a profile that doesn't have all of the information in it. So that's just something to note. We thought it was important to make this app available to people who either didn't have an email address or didn't have a mobile number. So that's why you can sign up under either. So now we'll open the floor to questions.
Or suggestions.
Or suggestions, either through, if you don't want to raise your hand and ask a question, you're welcome to pop something in the chat. Or if anyone has at this point something to share about how they've used their Springbok scan or their clinical trial passport, we're very open to hearing those comments as well. Well, I'm going to assume that you're all blown away by how useful and helpful this app is, and that you're all busy. Oh, here we go. We've got a question. Is it better to have the app on the mobile phone or computer? Really, that comes down to personal preference. And you can actually use it interchangeably. So the same login will work on your computer as your mobile device. So once you've set your login, you can use the web link, you can use your phone. I personally have the app downloaded to my phone, but I found it easier to upload the information from my computer. So I logged into my computer to upload my saliva test and my genetic test. But I will keep it on my phone so that I have it at my fingertips for medical appointments. That is wonderful. Well, thank you all so very much for, oh, one more question. How long does it take before you can have the Springbok scan? So as soon as you've completed all of your data sets, you'll be able to request a Springbok scan. The process for receiving a Springbok scan, we will send you a letter to take to your GP. You need a referral. Actually, should have mentioned this in the Springbok scan section. You need a referral from your GP for the full body MRI scan. We do cover the full cost of that MRI scan, and we provide you a letter to take to your GP so they know why they're helping you request it. The reason that you need that referral is so that if there are any incidental findings, so you have your full body MRI and they come across something that they're not happy about or needs further investigation, there's a pathway through to your medical care team, and they can be informed of any results that are arising from that MRI. The Springbok scan does not go to your GP, just the MRI results. The Springbok scan will go to you and will be uploaded into the app. Once you've seen your GP and you have that referral, you'll be able to book directly into the MRI clinic. So depending where you're going, we normally see people are able to get an appointment within a week or two, and it normally takes between 8 to 10 weeks to get the analysis back into your inbox, depending on how many are going through the system. But on average, that's how long we see them taking. So it's a couple of months process by the time you've seen your GP, had your scan, and get the Springbok scan back again. So that is also something to bear in mind. If you have an NDIS review due, think about that and have your Springbok scan in plenty of time so that you can use that for your review if you like. I know people who are still ambulatory that have used their Springbok scan to demonstrate their need for a mobility aid that's been previously declined by the NDIS, because sometimes the NDIS think if you can still walk, you don't need a wheelchair, and we all know that that is not necessarily the case. But this can show why and your OT or physio can use the report and reference why you might need it. So the wheelchair question, if I sometimes use one though could walk, how do I answer the questionnaire? So there is a question in the questionnaire that refers to part-time wheelchair use. When it asks whether you can still walk, you should answer at your best function, because when we're looking at clinical trial design and clinical trial recruitment, often the inclusion criteria is a baseline. So if you can do that or better, you're able to request to be screened for the trial. Most of the trials that we're having coming through now, you need to be able to walk unaided. So that's a really important distinction. So always answer those questions with what you can do at your best. You will be redoing those questionnaires on an annual basis so that you have the opportunity to update them. If you have a really significant decline in your mobility and you wish to update your questionnaire before then, you can always contact us and we can archive your old copy and you can provide a new one. Hopefully that answers your question. that's the other thing I should have mentioned about the Springbok scan. At the moment, we have some limitations with non-ambulatory patients. We don't have many or any facilities that can accommodate a hoist transfer. So you do need to be able to self-transfer or transfer with the assistance of a support worker or carer that you bring with you to the appointment. Staff can't help you transfer onto the MRI bed. The scan takes between 45 minutes and 1 hour, depending on the time it takes to reposition and, and be comfortable on the machine. It's a long time to lie on your back. You can have postural supports that the MRI company put in place, to help support your lower back or lift your knees, but you do need to be in a very standard position for the scan to work and be able to identify all of the muscles. Thank you, Robin. So Robin's just shared that she is going to upload everything again because she was part of our, she's spoken to a new physiotherapist and she's excited for her plan. So thank you, Robin. That's wonderful to hear. Now, we've got a question with regards to the genetic blood results. Do you need the Southern blot test or a letter to say you're positive enough from a neurologist? So ideally, you either need the report that shows your Southern blot test or a letter from your neurologist that details the number of repeats. So we do need the actual genetic information to upload in the back end. And then it's the repeat number that is important for that genetic blood test. Hopefully that answers your question, Lisa. Does the mental health test affect being able to participate in a trial? No, Brendan, that does not affect being able to participate in a trial. That is purely helping us better understand mental health in people with FSHD, but also provide some pre-screening and notifications for people who might be in need of better mental health support. There's no mental health inclusion or exclusion criteria in the clinical trials that we've seen come through to date. I will highlight to everyone, though, that participating in a clinical trial is quite an onerous task. There's ongoing appointments. It can be tiring. It can be emotionally draining. So having your mental health in a really good state before taking part in a trial is probably a really good idea, I would think. So it won't preclude you from participating in a trial if you score outside the normal range, but we would recommend that you do have a look at it as just in case. Thank you, Georgia, for the feedback there to say it's great to have it on your device. That's wonderful. And yes, a lot of people are not given the repeat numbers when they're diagnosed. So it is good to request from your neurologist so that you've got all of the information that might be useful. I think that might be the end of our questions coming through. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining our webinar. I really do invite you all to make the most of this app and also give us feedback if there's something that you've found was not easy to use or didn't quite make sense to you. Giving us feedback helps us continue to improve the experience. We want to make this easy for people living with FSHD. I think we all have enough on our plate trying to navigate life with FSHD. This part we want to make as easy as possible. We will be looking to expand the registry further, and Cure FSHD's functionality will certainly be expanded over into the next 12 months or so. It's quite a long task to make those kinds of changes and make sure that they're meaningful and useful. But your feedback really helps us. I also really do implore you to share your stories about what this has meant to you to have a clinical trial passport and take part in this program, because, you know, we have so far funded, I think around 18 clinical trial passports, you know, from donors. We know that there are about 3,500 Australians living with FSHD, and we need to fund a passport for every one of them. So having stories that show the value for this investment is really important to us, because we can go out there to donors and encourage more fundraising. And having your stories really help us, you know, show them what impact those donations have. So please do share your stories with us if you feel comfortable in doing so, even if they're anonymized, and you would just like to give us a quote on your experience. We're very grateful for that. Most of us have friends who also have FSHD. So my other piece of homework that I would give you all is, please, if every one of you reaches out to 3 people that you know that has FSHD and checks in if they've downloaded Cure FSHD, I would like to see this become, you know, the most successful registry worldwide, really. And we've got a tough ask, because even though in the Netherlands, I think they're, you know, the size of their country is 0.5% of Australia, they beat us in their registry already. So we have a long way to go for number of participants. So please encourage anyone that you're in touch with who has FSHD to get online and complete their clinical trial passport. And a note there from Georgia, thanks to Lisa for helping me with my log-on challenges. Lisa's a beacon of hope to our whole community. She's a absolute powerhouse helping us at the foundation. I don't know what I'd do without it. So I echo those thanks to Lisa.
Not in technology, I'm sorry, guys.
And just a question there, if Neuromuscular WA is taking greater interest in the program, they sure are. Haley from actually all of the muscular dystrophy CEOs from right across the country attended the launch of Cure FSHD at Parliament House. They are all very interested in the program. And Haley from Neuromuscular WA, who's the CEO there, is actually joining us as part of Project Mercury in our Australian working group. So she's taking a huge interest in everything that we're doing here, and we're very grateful for Haley's support. Another Lisa is amazing. Let's even up the votes for the FSHD staff, please, people. She is utterly amazing. Everyone in our little FSHD corner, I must say, is amazing, right through from our volunteers, our board, our science committee. We're very, very lucky to have a lot of wonderful people in our corner. And then our global collaborators are also equally wonderful, and their input is very valued. So thank you to everyone who's made Cure FSHD possible. Let's make it completely amazing, so that we can fast track therapies in Australia. I think we're all ready.